This is where we left off at the end of part 2. By the end of this video, we'll get to the final version of the space. This part is really about the final 20% of the project. The big design decisions have already been made, so now it becomes more about refinement. Adjusting materials, fixing small details, improving the composition, and making sure every element feels intentional. I mentioned earlier that the Artek 400 armchair had some shading and topology issues, so I decided to clean up the model before continuing. I brought it into Rhino and used quad remesh to rebuild the geometry. After that, I fixed some of the smaller details, including the edge grain surface on the armrest. The quad remesh model had the wood edge separated from the rest of the chair, so I copied the armrest edge loop and cleaned it up to make it feel like one continuous piece. After the geometry, I UV unwrapped the entire chair. I marked the seams and carefully aligned the UVs so the wood grain would flow continuously around the edges. I spent extra time on this because I know I'll likely create some close-up vignette shots of the space, and this chair is one of the pieces I want to feature. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but this is what happened in the moment. The wood material is from Polygon, and the fabric material is from Kadrat. This sofa is the Hem Great Sofa by Philip Mullen. The model was already in good shape, so I mainly focused on creating a simple fabric material. Since this was the largest and most visually heavy piece of furniture in the room, I wanted it to feel grounded and substantial. The dark red color helped it sit back into the composition while still adding warmth and contrast. Here I'm adding a simple saddle stitch detail around the edge of the area rug. It's a subtle detail, but I like how it creates a small frame around the rug and it gives a little more finished appearance. There are definitely more things I could have added, but at this point I felt like it was enough detail for the final image. For the 925 armchair, I kept things simple. I used polygon materials for the leather and walnut wood to get the chair looking more realistic while still letting the design of the chair speak for itself. The Hill House 1 chair was a similar process. I added a black stained wood material for the frame and a blue leather material for the seat. The goal here was not to overcomplicate the materials, but just give each piece enough realism and character to hold up in the final render. Threshold wall was becoming one of the strongest architectural elements in the space, so I felt like it needed another detail. I added these chrome half-sphere sconces to create more visual interest and help activate this area. Originally, I experimented with having them emissive and adding light, but I found that it distracted from the purple threshold element. The bench was something I struggled with throughout the process. I knew I wanted it to be custom, but every version I tried felt too heavy. Anything made from wood also started blending into the other wooden elements throughout the room. Eventually, I experimented with a curved bench, and immediately it felt much more successful. The curved shape helped connect the two seating zones together. And I also liked the trapezoidal side profile because it relates back to the main threshold detail on the right wall. It became a piece that connected multiple important elements within the room. From a color perspective, I also felt like the space needed more blue, so this darker blue lacquer helped balance out the warmer tones. threshold jewel detail was becoming too much visually. It was competing with the architecture instead of supporting it. I ended up going back closer to my original idea, a simple rounded rectangle shape, but with a smaller black jewel-like elements added in the center. This felt much more controlled and allowed the detail to enhance the threshold instead of overpowering it. The threshold door also needed more character. The original version felt too simple, so I added additional details and refined the door handle. The handle follows the same curve language as the rock floor lamp, creating another connection between the objects in the space. I also used the same angle from the trapezoidal detail above the door to help tie everything together. The original metal coffee table was really just a placeholder. As the rest of the room developed, it started feeling too generic, so I searched for something that better fit the overall direction. I found this vintage cloud coffee table by Veermakers and created a rough model based on its shape and proportions. I think this works much better because it feels lighter and more sculptural. It also creates a nice contrast with the heavier, more grounded furniture piece in the front right area of the room. The last adjustments were mostly about refining the overall image. I tweaked the sun lamp direction to improve the lighting, added trees outside the windows using the Arborea add-on, and brought in a table lamp from A&D Lighting to add another small light source and detail within the composition. At this stage, most of the work was no longer about adding new elements, but about making sure everything supported the overall feeling of the space. So this is where I ended up. I would say the image is about 99% ready for the final render. There may be still a few small adjustments, but the overall design direction is complete. In the next video, I'll go through the final rendering settings, create additional camera views, and prepare the final images for post-production.